here with the Days of Glory system rules. So that's Jours de Gloire, or Days of Glory series. Okay, part one of the rules, the game turn. There's only one game turn for both players, who act alternately depending on the drawing of activation markers. Each turn comprises several phases, so we start with an orders phase. Players place the CAMs, or combined activation markers, in a cup, remove renforts, or reinforcement markers, from their units as necessary, and choose the formations which will receive orders for the turn. Then we have a strategic initiative phase. So the first step is each player rolls a die, a 10-sided die, to determine who has the strategic initiative. And then step two, the player with the initiative chooses an activation marker belonging to the formation which will start the turn. Then we go on to the assembly phase. So this is the third phase of the turn, called the C phase. So phases are A, B, C, D, E, F. So phase C, assembly phase, the players place in the cup the activation markers of the formations present on the map, as well as those due to enter play as reinforcements this turn, except for the one already chosen in the earlier step. Then we go on to the activation phase, phase D. Step one of the players randomly draws an activation marker from the cup, except for the first activation marker, which was already selected earlier by the player with the initiative. The formation which corresponds to the activation marker is then activated. Then we go on to the second step. The activated formation's status is checked by turning over its order marker. Either it has orders, has received orders, or it is sans orders, or no orders, has not received orders. The leader's initiative may have to be tested. Step 3. For the activated formation, the player may, while strictly respecting the following order, first perform artillery fire, then move those units which are allowed to do so, including charging cavalry, then third, perform shock combat for infantry and non-charging cavalry, and charges for cavalry. Okay. And then step 4, or fourth in order, rally units which have not performed any of the preceding actions during the current activation phase. The activation phase is repeated until one activation marker remains in the cup. This last AM is put aside and its corresponding formation is not activated. Okay, so again, in general, each formation is going to have 2 activation markers, although this can vary. This can vary. Then we have the step E, or phase E, rout and demoralization. The players move routed units their full movement allowance in the required direction. Each formation is checked for demoralization. Also see rout movement. All right, and then final phase is phase F. The players check the victory conditions, advance the turn marker 1 box, and remove orders received and orders and no orders markers from the map. Then you return to phase A. All right, part 2, or chapter 2 of the rules of orders and activation. So activation markers. Each AM activation marker possesses a code O or C and an initiative value expressed as a number. So first we have ordinary activation markers indicated by O. Ordinary AMs are identified by an O on the counter. AMs are used to determine which side is active and which units can be used during phase D, or the activation phase. Each AM designates a particular formation. A formation is a group of units, a brigade, a division, or an ad hoc formation, identified by a color stripe on the units. All formations have 2 AMs, with exceptions in certain scenarios or because of demoralization. The AMs in play are placed in the cup each turn during phase C to be drawn randomly. Then we have combined activation markers, or CAMs, or MAC in French. CAMs are identified by a C on their counter. CAMs are placed in the cup, whether by choice or as required, at the beginning of Phase A. Their effects are described in the specific rules for each battle. Note they can be utilized to allow units to enter as reinforcements if their characteristics allow it. All right, next we have utilization of AMs. At the beginning of the activation phase, Phase D, either player randomly draws an AM from the cup. The units of the formation designated by this AM are then activated and may perform an action. When the player has finished all the actions which he wishes to take with the units of this formation, the AM is placed to one side, and either player randomly draws a new AM from the cup, repeating the above process. When there is only one AM left in the cup, the activation phase is terminated. The last AM, even if it is a CAM, combined activation marker, is placed to one side and the corresponding formation is not activated. This also is can be accepted by a scenario rule. I think I've already seen a scenario that imposes a variation on this, but this again is the base series rules. All right, next we have orders, formations, and tactical groups. If the units of a single formation are too widely dispersed, they must form several tactical groups and will have to have more than one order to activate them all. Tactical groups are determined during the orders phase, Phase A of each turn for the entire turn. A tactical group consists of all units of a single formation which are within 2 hexes of another unit of the same formation. Thus, one unit must be within 2 hexes of a second unit, inclusive of the hex of the other unit that the other unit is in. The second unit must then be within 2 hexes of a third unit, and so on and so forth. This chain of units may extend as far as to include all the units of the formation. On the other hand, a unit located farther than 2 hexes from all other units of the formation is considered as an autonomous tactical group by itself for receiving orders. So clarification, when a formation's activation marker is drawn from the cup, all units of the tactical groups belonging to that formation are activated simultaneously in whatever order the owning player wishes. Then we have allocation of orders. At the beginning of each turn, Phase A, the 2 players select among their respective tactical groups those which will receive orders and will be considered with orders from headquarters, abbreviated received orders or with orders.